I will do my best. Okay, so that is not helping. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say that rarely have I been involved in a policy file which apparently gets such incredible across-the-board support from all the sides. So I'm really happy that the piece of work that we have been working on for some time now, how to take this big tanker of the telecom, which brought us great benefits and great frustrations in the past, and turn it towards investment. Because I hear quite a lot of you saying that this investment is necessary. It will be expensive, it will be difficult, it will be a challenge, and there's no other way. So I'm glad that we all came to the conclusion that if we do not know where we're going, we'll probably end up somewhere else. So now we know where we're going. The Gigabit Society communication looked at the future beyond 2020, the future which needs to bring the 5G to all the citizens around Europe, and set up a benchmark, a point, a reference to which we can all now refer, and we can measure our activity and we can measure our actions being by far the most important part of all this rhetoric. So first, it is important that where people meet and travel and work and gather, they have access to top quality connectivity. And by far the most important of this particular objective is the right level of connectivity in schools. We hear it from all the member states, we hear it from all the groups of society, that today the young generations is actually way beyond what is proposed to them in the school environment. Part of it is the skills, part of it is the programs, but part of it is also that the children actually seek connectivity in other areas that school may offer, because their way of looking at the future, the way of learning new skills and new activities is becoming different. And we really need to step up to that challenge. But this is not only about schools, it is also about innovation-intensive enterprises. It is also about areas like hospitals and public administration, where we really want people to have an experience of gigabit society. Second, a frustration of many of us of how interrupted and intermittent connectivity can be along the transport routes. I'm sure that we are all well-traveled people, and it's not only on the plane that we can't actually use proper internet. It happens on trains, it happens in the cars, and when the connected or assisted driving will come, it will no longer be just a question of personal comfort. It will also be a question of our security and the security of those users of transport around us. That is why the main transport corridors will have to be a priority by 2025 in getting the right connectivity. And we are not going to allow the digital single market to bring the benefits only to the selected few because they happen to be born in a country which is very densely populated. Connectivity is no longer a luxury good. It is, well, perhaps it has never been a luxury good, but at some point we sort of assumed that it could be. It is not. It will become as basic, not only for business but also for social development, as water or electricity was in the last centuries. And this is why we have this vision of connectivity for everybody that is not only going to be of a great speed and quality of at least 100 megabits per second, but it is upgradable to gigabit. Because frankly, I was asked to do a very proper, methodologically sound prevision of what connectivity is going to be by 2025. And I have to tell you that there is no methodology to predict it. We can make very intelligent, well-documented guesses, but they remain guesses. And here I have to say that it was very clear that without political leadership, nothing is going to happen. Commissioner Oettinger said to us, I hear your reservations about impact assessing that vision. It cannot be properly impact assessed. But if I am to be mistaken, I prefer to be mistaken on the ambition side. And I believe what I hear around in this evening, many people and many of you actually share that view. We cannot get it wrong. And if the gigabit society will come to us in 2028, then at least some children will enjoy high-speed games 3 years before that. Obviously, the connectivity is the necessary condition for the 5G, and it is a necessary condition and an important part of the 5G action plan, which we presented at the same time as the Gigabit Society communication. It represents a very practical, pragmatic set of measures which need to happen so that we actually get there. And that is a clear roadmap which calls for priorities. It's a clear vision of how we need to deal with spectrum, a very controversial and a very important element of that particular action plan. It is a call to select and identify and find the ways of financing the first pilot and deployments so that we can actually learn from each other and see how we can bring the dynamics of early demonstrators into the future deployment of 5G and make sure that we can turn innovation into business, which is a very important call. We're not going to actually sustain our society unless we manage to get these innovations into sustainable business models. And finally, and very importantly, we need to remember that we have built our last great success in telecom on a common standard. And that lesson needs to be brought to us again. We really need to make sure that we get it right and that we all push within standardization bodies and working together into a standard that will be the benefit for the innovation of all, including your small competitors, but including also those who are going to invent the next generation of 5G services on the socle which we are going to build together. So I hope that the ambition that the Commission proposed is to your liking. We remain committed to working with you to make sure that the policy, the regulatory and the financial aspects will be proposed. We can only propose. It is to the Parliament, to the Council and to the business to actually make this proposal a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anya, and thank you very much to all first panelists. And now I would like to ask